Good morning. This is a reading for the last quarter moon in Aquarius. And this is kind of a huge shift. It is the dying of an old cycle and an old paradigm, which is very exciting. And it's those steps that we start to take mentally, with Aquarius being the energy, before we move into the new moon in Taurus, where we ground everything that we have learned this past cycle, this past season, into our body to where it becomes our new reality. So if that is something that interests you, if you want to learn more about that, please stick around for this reading. So I pulled out my last quarter moon journal. So the first questions that I asked the cards were, what loose ends can I tie up to prepare for a fresh start in the next cycle? And what habits, routines, or relationships no longer serve me and are ready to be released? So the cards that we were given are the Star card. So this is representative of healing, and we're healing an old thought process, an old pattern. The Queen of Cups in reverse. What we are healing is the suppression of our feminine side, and this goes for all genders. Everyone has the feminine within them. So we are no longer suppressing the softness for the sake of survival, because the paradigm is shifting. We're starting to become aware what is actually happening, like the subtext of the dialogue that's like occurring in the world today, that's like kind of occurring in politics. And something that was kind of revealed through these cards is, I know a lot of us feel like there's a war on women right now. And in a way there kind of is. But I want to say that the war isn't inherently on women. It feels like it is, because it's really about what women represent. It's what we are reflecting to society as a whole. For some reason, there's a lot of fear about becoming soft, becoming intuitive, becoming reflective. The way that society has been kind of run on this like overly masculine, like toxic masculinity kind of concept, is because we've started to fear the unknown. Like, why do people know the things that they know without having proof? We started to demand proof. And the thing about the feminine, the thing about the yin, is you don't need proof, because it's a whole body feeling. You know when things are yes, you know when things are no. No, you don't need to over explain it. You know what I mean? It's all about coming back to yourself, creating a home for yourself. I'm hearing like they tried to evict us. They tried to evict us from our home, from our power that exists within ourselves. They fed us a lie, and the lie is, you aren't seen unless we see you. But that is not true at all, okay? So we got the Eight of Cups. So this is coming out of your skin. This is shedding the armor, the protective barrier between you and the rest of the world, and even between aspects that you are willing to recognize within yourself and not within yourself. Okay, so if you haven't been doing shadow work this past month, this past season, I'd be really surprised, because this Libra new moon was really reflective on old patterns, especially in regards to money, like love and relationships, okay? And that also came out in the card reading today. So you were given the Page of Pentacles. So that is about kind of reevaluating how you relate to money. We're stepping out of grind culture. We're learning that your energy, it flows, right? And it's very connected to like money and resources. And we've been fed this lie with the Eight of Pentacles, that you have to grind, you have to work really hard to become successful. But this card is saying it is the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Like, that is not true. That is not true at all. Because we're kind of been operating on these like false concepts where we think that the world is like based off of time. And it's not true. It's based off of energy. So you can do things that are depleting for your body and for your mind, right? For your natural energy that's putting yourself in jobs and relationships that are depleting you, that don't see you for your inherent value, for who you are. And it is depleting your energy. It is making you feel small. It is making you feel tired. But when you start to do things that excite you, that bring you alive, like Source and Spirit are telling you, there's a reason you have unlimited energy when it comes to these certain creative projects. And it is because that's what you were put here to do. So it's almost like the energy is kind of like a reward where it's like, yes, do the things that make you feel good, because then you're working from this place of like excess. You're working from this place of abundance. And that is what we are moving into. Okay. We're taking the power out of money. We're taking the power out of time. We're taking the power out of patriarchy. We're realizing that the system doesn't benefit everybody. And I want to say, like, it doesn't even benefit the people that they think it benefits them, like the people that are in power, right? They think that suppressing the softness, suppressing the feminine, they think that it benefits them, but it's really not true, because they are also suppressing their own softness, and they've turned hate onto that softness that lives within themselves. And they're kind of like drying up, like withering and dying, because they don't understand, like they don't understand how energy exchanges work. But you do, okay? And we're starting to become more aware of how this energy flows, and just exactly why this feminine energy is so important, so potent, and so powerful. So a couple things. I got a new oracle deck. It is the Herbal Astrology Oracle. So I'm gonna pull a couple oracle cards from that deck. And also, I just want to show you guys this crystal. One of my friends, somebody who watches this channel, gifted me this crystal. It is so beautiful. It really reminds me of the Queen of Cups energy. I've changed her name like a million times, but she's just giving like sparkly ocean goddess, and I can't remember what she said it was. It was some type of quartz. But I just want to say thank you again, and this stone is so beautiful. It's just been sitting with me at my kitchen counter while I do these readings, because I really love it. So let's get into the oracle reading using this new deck. What message do you have for this collective during this time? What message needs to come through? So you got St. John's Wort, Radiance. Ooh, okay. I'm loving it. So I haven't even really been reading the books for these cards, because they're really like littered with symbolism and imagery already. So yeah, St. John's Wort, number 2. So you see this lady like in a full sprint. She's got like a cauldron that's like blooming these flowers. So the flowers are yellow. That is a solar plexus power, right? And I want to bring your attention to this house that's on fire in the background. That is so relevant right now, because you're burning down old structures, old paradigms, things that no longer suit you, right? We're collapsing the old structures, and that's feeling a lot of painful for a lot of people. And I think it's causing a lot of people to lose hope. But I don't want you to lose hope, because I want you to realize that anything that is kind of empowering this like feminine rage is all for our benefit. It's so we can wake up and remember who we are, remember why we are here. Like, don't look at things for face value. Like, trust that everything that's happening, even if it's in a not pretty package, is happening ultimately for your highest good, okay? And I want to see if there's any more cards that are going to come out of here, and if not, I'm going to go to the book to read that definition. I also want to point out that she is holding like a horn. She's like, it's time to sound the alarm, sound the bells, okay? This is a radiance, and this is also reawakening. So let me read that. I'm also getting the message of like partnership, people who are aligned with your spirit right now. This is the number 2. People who are accurate mirrors. So like attracting people into your life that aren't just trying to reflect what they want to see, but reflect you for who you truly are, and your traits, right? You're gonna be encountering like clear mirrors. Like before, it was like the mirrors were fractured, they were like fragmented, they were foggy, they were dirty. You're like, I can't really see myself clearly through this person, right? Because they're only reflecting what suits them and their dialogue, their internal dialogue right now. But Spirit's saying it's time, like it's time to see yourself for who you are and to be surrounded by people that radiate that same light. Hypericum perforatum. Okay, that's the St. John's wort. So upright, it's joy, warmth, resilience, happiness, understanding, manifestation, spiritual power, and protection. St. John's wort, like the sun card in tarot, represents feelings of protection, optimism, fulfillment, prosperity, success, and the dawn that follows the darkest of nights. The sun is the source of all the life on our planet and represents life energy itself. The Latin name Hypericum means to place above the altar, and perforatum means perforation, a reference to holes in the plant's leaves. Used since ancient times as a protective plant against witchcraft, demonic entities, or psychic energy, St. John's wort was often used in exorcism rituals when demons were eradicated from possessed spaces and people. Okay. St. John's wort is the epitome of a solar herb. It blossoms around the peak of midsummer day, embodying resilience, vitality, and longevity. Its power is such that it is believed to be effective in protecting a home against lightning, fires, and severe storms. One of the common customs was to burn the herb in a fireplace and let the pungent smoke permeate the space to ward off evil and enhance protection. The ancients believed that this precious ally to be one of the greatest gifts to humanity due to the plethora of healing benefits it contains. For many centuries, St. John's wort has been used as a remedy against depression, anxiety, melancholy, viruses, wound healing, pain relief, spiritual protection, and more guidance. The Midsummer Goddess celebrates the multifaceted elements of life in a state of joyous abundance, reminding us that the wellspring of true wealth and healing is within. There's so many messages there. That's what like I think like the 1% like doesn't understand is like they're like searching, trying to acquire. They don't understand that like the contentment is within, and people keep externalizing their source power, right? So when I was reading that description, I was just thinking about the fact that what we just went from, I think, Capricorn to Aquarius. And what is it? There's a word I'm missing. What was the 20s? This like liberation, this like movement. This is like the feeling of Aquarius. It's like this revitalized energy. It's like this renaissance. Okay, so yeah, so that's the vibes that I was getting when I was reading this. It was just renaissance. St. John's wort is here to remind you to cultivate practices deep within yourself to experience this enlightening truth. Avoidance and distraction from this great knowing are unconscious habits that build up and manifest as scarcity, fear, and low moods that inhibit you from walking your truth. St. John's wort grants us the spiritual courage, a fire needed to navigate the death of the old self. Yeah, this is the old burning away, and I think that was already covered like in full depth in this card reading. Something came up, but I don't remember what it was. Anyway, this happens sometimes, but I just want to say that I'm very excited, and if you've been feeling hopeless lately, don't. Okay, just don't. There's contrast that exists because we live on Earth. There's that duality. So a lot of people are really focusing on the negative, but they're not focusing on the positive, which is the voices that are starting to be empowered, right? The voices that are saying, I've had enough. Like, that's enough. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here to be myself. Like, we're dropping the masks. Like, I'm tired of the mask. I'm here to be myself. Myself was put here on this earth for a reason at this particular set of time. And I think if you evaluate the entire life, your entire life, I would say down to every cell in your body, every experience that you've had, like it was all shaping you, preparing you, to stand on this like platform, like in this moment, okay? Being like a source of power through your experience, both negative and positive. And I want to say the real power is your ability to be brave, your ability to self-reflect, your ability to see the shadows within yourself, because you're not looking at the world through this like externalized point of view anymore. You're seeing the multiple levels and layers of consciousness, and you're understanding that while you might be up here seeing everything, the big picture of why people are acting the way that they are, saying the things that they're saying, have to understand that they might be in this lower level of sleep, right? So they think it's these other things. And I want to say, like, try to have some compassion for the people that are asleep. And this is going to sound super weird, but they're frustrating sometimes, right? Being frustrated by people that don't see the patterns, right? That don't get the big picture. But I want to say that they reinforce this illusion, all right? They reinforce this illusion of separation, of that we're not all connected, that we're not all one. And that is kind of important. I want to say that is kind of important to contribute to this entire like earth being experience. So I always like, if people are asleep, I don't force them awake, because what is the feminine energy? It is just offering information and not forcing people to drink. It's if you're ready, here, drink it. But you don't want to force people awake. You don't need to do that, because understand they're on their own journey, right? And also, if they seem very asleep, it's because they're helping contribute to this illusion, right? But you, as a higher knowing, higher power, you can see how even the things that are perceived as negative are somehow highlighting the greater good. Okay. And that might have been kind of for some people, but if you get it, if you got it, if you're picking up what Spirit is putting down right now, please leave a comment. I would love to hear from you as we are growing this community of people who are just like alive, awake, thriving, and completely radiant in the renaissance that we're experiencing right now. Okay, so thank you. I hope you enjoyed your message. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time for the next moon phase on Monday. Bye.